Hey everyone, welcome. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for this explainer today because we are unpacking something truly fascinating, the underlying biological mechanics of how chemicals hijack our brains. We're going to explore this stark, almost mathematical contrast between the extreme heights of chemical euphoria and the incredibly dark gravity of dependency. Seriously, it's this wild story of borrowed time, stolen energy, and ultimately the incredible, undeniable resilience of the human brain.
But, before we get into the really heavy stuff, I want to ask you a quick question. Be totally honest with me. Does your morning coffee actually give you energy? We're going to challenge some of your most familiar, everyday routines today. Because as you'll see throughout this explainer, every single chemical high, literally down to that favorite mug of coffee on your desk, involves a very specific biological debt.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the mechanics of a high, then look at some everyday illusions, chasing pure euphoria, altering reality, and finally, the trap of dependency. We are tracing this whole journey right from the stuff we casually consume every day, all the way to extreme chemical dependencies. Section 1, the mechanics of a high. To really grasp the extremes of dependency, we've got to establish the baseline chemistry first. So the secret behind our brain's reward system basically comes down to three fundamental fuels. First up, adenosine. This is the chemical messenger that taps your brain on the shoulder and says, hey, you're tired, time for sleep. Then we have dopamine. This is your reward molecule. It's what makes you feel sharp, calm, and deeply satisfied. And serotonin? That is your molecule for happiness, well-being, and social connection. Every single substance we look at today works by either mimicking, blocking, or totally flooding your brain with these exact natural messengers.
And no matter what the substance is, they all trigger this exact same universal biological sequence. First is the onset, the initial hit, where the chemical starts pulling the strings on your neurotransmitters. Then comes the peak, right? That's the maximum effect, where your brain is completely saturated. And finally, the come down. And listen, this isn't just a hangover, it is an absolute crash and depletion of those natural chemicals we just talked about. Grasping this cycle is absolutely crucial to understanding addiction and, as we'll see later, the science of long-term brain recovery.
Section 2, everyday illusions. Let's see how these exact mechanics play out in totally socially accepted ways. Think about caffeine. It creates this massive illusion. It acts like a biological shield, blocking that adenosine, the chemical telling you you're exhausted, giving you what feels like, well, confidence in a cup. But reality? Underneath that shield, your body is still completely drained. The caffeine is literally just hiding it from you. And when it finally wears off, all that backed up adenosine comes crashing into your brain all at once, which is exactly why you get that inevitable, jittery crash. Which brings us to this really profound idea: withdrawal disguised as culture. We constantly joke, right? Oh, I need my coffee to live, or do not speak to me before my first cup. But medically speaking, that's actually just a mild withdrawal loop that society has totally normalized. Your brain literally stops producing as much natural alertness because it's relying on the caffeine. So that morning cup, it isn't actually lifting you up anymore. It's just getting you back to your normal baseline. Now, we see this cycle speed way up with nicotine. The onset is this super brief, clean high that clears your thoughts and melts stress with a quick surge of dopamine. But nicotine burns out incredibly fast. The trap here is that the calm instantly turns into tension. Nicotine doesn't actually relax you. It merely relieves the discomfort that the last hit created. It tricks the brain into learning that peace only exists between cravings. And let's look at alcohol's biological arc. It fundamentally acts as a depressant, literally slowing down how your brain communicates with itself. The onset feels great, warmth, confidence, this great sense of social connection. The peak creates this really powerful illusion of control, even as your actual physical coordination and judgment are fading away. And the come down? That's the heavy, foggy crash as your brain chemistry desperately tries to recalibrate itself. It mimics human connection while ultimately dulling everything that makes us human.